This is the podcast we've been trying to get spun up for quite a while, Caleb.
Yeah, it's been a long hiatus.
Yes, this is the Weather Seekers podcast. We are beginning season 2. Season 1 was a little while ago, and now we're back. Now, when I came and joined, it had already happened, and then there were some equipment problems. So I never was a part of season 1. So
Right.
Give us some background where the Weather Seekers podcast came to be.
Thanks, Grant. Yeah, exactly. So, well, before we start, we have to acknowledge the people who really started this. And Wes Atkins, one of our previous forecasters, he's still with the NWS now, but he's embedded within the FAA now up in D.C. Mm-hmm. So a big shout out to Wes. This was kind of his brainchild and brought it to fruition for the first season. And then also wanted to shout out to Dan Hartsock. He's with the Portland office now, as he designed our logo here.
Isn't that nice? It looks super nice. I didn't do that.
Yeah. I'm going to leave that. He actually had a graphic design background a little bit. So
that's cool.
Yeah, he was able to get that going for us. But just wanted to give a shout out to them. Miss you guys. But yeah, season 1, it started out. We wanted an idea to give something for the listeners for our area that we forecast for, and allow the people to listen in and about us talk about weather. What happened to the forecast last week, for example, or have viewers send in questions and that they may be curious about, and we can talk about that. But it also gives us a space here at the office to really just nerd out and talk about what we love.
We do that a lot.
Yeah.
We nerd out. We'll do storm recaps and we'll get deep into the data and statistics. And it's really quite fun when I see somebody else who's smarter than me just let their nerd flag fly. And it's a lot of fun.
You learn a lot too, you know, because there's people in this office with, way more experience than you or I have. And they, all have their areas of expertise. So just being able to, let them share a little bit of that knowledge to us. And so this is going to be a really good avenue for them to do that. The other big thing for the podcast is we want you, the people at home, to really learn our faces. We're not just a government agency. There's, actual people behind the forecast that you see online or social media that you may see. So going forward now, season 2, I think our goal is to meet us. Figure out who we are as a weather office here in Juneau, our backgrounds, where we come from, and then also maybe along the way, learn a little bit about the weather and how it works. If we have a big winter storm, let's talk about it. What happened? The good things, the bad things, how the forecast did. Also along the way, we may bring in some guests. From the community. So
yes, the meteorologist in charge here really wants us to get people to come in and we interview them and talk about things. So I'm looking forward to being able to open those avenues.
Yeah, exactly. I think having, harbor masters, FAA, city of Juneau, members, TDOT, or not TDOT, but Department of Transportation.
Yeah.
I think having people like that and hearing their side, as well as how do they interpret our forecasts, what's important, what are they looking for? Mm-hmm. Because I think that would help us too.
Yeah, it really would. So that's the idea behind the podcast, is just to let you see us and then let us interact with you. So that way we can better know what you need, and then we can serve you better. But, introduction, just a little bit. Take a step back. We are the National Weather Service. We are a national organization, or a government agency. So we're across the country, 122 offices across the country, where every office has a couple dozen employees all doing the same thing, where we all forecast and provide weather watches and warnings for the area that we're responsible for. AOR or CWA is what we call them. But
yeah, we all have our own areas of responsibilities. I think, as a national agency, our main mission is protecting life and property and enhancing the national economy. So that's our main mission here. And we all take that here at the local level. And so protecting, the life and property of Juneau, but not only Juneau, but all of Southeast Alaska, the whole Panhandle. I don't know, there are some people that don't realize that, but we forecast for all of Southeast Alaska.
Yeah. Yeah, and then so we have this national agency, but then to localize it, we've got the Juneau office here, and we live in Juneau. We're not somewhere else remote working in. We live here. We're in the community.
Yep.
And so when we bust on a forecast, when we call for snow and it rains, we know it. And if anything, we actually will probably know it before you do, because we're watching the forecast and we can see, that rain's not switching over.
Right, yeah.
And so we're here. We're here with you in the area. We're in the community. And, now that travel restrictions have lifted, you've already gotten out. You and Nicole went down to Cake. We've got a few people that travel. They've gone to Sitka and Ketchikan. So we're starting to get out into the Panhandle. And that's really fun to be able to see the area that we forecast for. So, that's what we can do here in Juneau.
Right. So Grant, with this episode, we wanted to give an introduction to everyone. But I think this first series right here, I think what we want to do is probably introduce everyone, right?
Yeah.
So
there'll be a lot of interviews with those who work in this office. If they want to, get on here, we'll interview them, and you can see more faces.
Right. Yeah, putting the face behind the forecast.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, tell me a little bit about yourself, Grant.
Yeah.
You've been here for how long?
Yeah. So I've been here since 2020. I got off the ferry in October 2020. That's when I drove off.
Yeah.
Got here at like 2 a.m. And I've been here ever since. I'm a meteorologist, forecast meteorologist. And so these podcasts that we're doing will be mainly hosted by, one of us until someone else decides they want to do this too.
Right.
Yeah. So Caleb, what about you?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about you.
Right. I arrived in Juneau in 2019, the summer of 2019 in July. It could have been the end of June. It's been about 4 years now, so it all kind of blurs together, but it flies by. But I will say, looking back at that, one of the unique things about working here in the Juneau office is, it's kind of a melting pot. We have people from all over. I'm from Tennessee. Mm-hmm. You're from Kansas, right.
Moved here from South Dakota.
Right, exactly. So, and then we have a few others in the office everywhere. We have the Southeast, we have the Midwest, we have...
got some Northwesterners,
yeah,
Utah.
Exactly. But I think one of the unique experiences that we all kind of bond on is our trip up here.
Yeah, we really do.
For me, my dad and I and my stepmom, we drove from Tennessee to Montana, crossed over into Canada, and then boarded a ferry in Prince Rupert, and then took a 2-day trip on the ferry, and then finally made it to Juneau. So it's quite the haul. It was like a week it took us here.
Yeah, it took me 6 days. 3 days from Sioux Falls, South Dakota to Bellingham, and then 3 days on the ferry. And just full disclosure, I did get seasick.
Yeah.
For about 5-6 hours. It was rough, and then as soon as we got out of the rougher waters, seasickness went away, and then I was good the rest of the time, just watching all the islands pass by.
Yeah, it's a beautiful trip, honestly. Like, just the road part was fantastic. I had never really traveled further west than the Mississippi, being from Tennessee, and then so seeing all of the country, and then once you get on the ferry and you see all of the Southeast Alaska inside passage, it's it's really beautiful. And I mean, that's one of the highlights of this job, I think, so far, is the trip up here.
Yeah, and then when we get new people, we tell them our stories of how we moved here so that they can have ideas of how to get up here. And then when they get here, we find we hear their stories of what they dealt with, and it's all fun. So we will get a little bit into our backgrounds.
Yeah.
We'll get real deep.
I'll go ahead and start. So my background, I went to school at university. Sorry, I'll repeat. My background is I went to school at Mississippi State University. So I have a bachelor's in professional meteorology or operational meteorology. And so I graduated in 2018. And then, interestingly enough, I graduated right when there was a hiring freeze going on with the government. So I wasn't able to find a job for a while, but it took about a whole year. And I finally, some openings came out. and Alaska offices came up. And, you know, I'm an outdoorsy guy. I like the outdoors. You name it, hunting, fishing, hiking, I'll be there. So I always wanted to go to Alaska and visit. And so when I saw these openings, I was like, I have to apply. And I did, and I got it. And so, you know, and it's been an amazing experience so far. But I would say weather-wise, you know, going to school in Mississippi, there's a lot of tropical influence and there's a lot of severe weather. So I would say that probably one of the things I enjoyed most is severe weather forecasting, and I learned a lot about hurricanes while I was down there. Obviously, here in Southeast Alaska, we don't get that a lot.
Oh, no, really?
So one of the things that's been really cool since moving up here is I've learned so much about winter weather and what it means to, you know, forecast in these, you know, high latitude areas. So we get these huge lows in the Gulf. I mean, that are hurricane strength sometimes.
Yeah. We've had a couple that were confirmed. They had a sustained wind of hurricane force.
Yeah.
Just one of them. We're like, we got it. We got one.
Right. So we get, you know, the weather here, although we don't get tornadoes or thunderstorms, you know, in its own right, the weather here is pretty challenging, and, you know, it can get pretty crazy. I think the marine weather here is something that has been a challenge and something that I've really learned a lot of. Being here the past 4 years, I think the marine weather, the winter weather, has been probably something that I've enjoyed the most, getting to learn and getting out in the area. Like, who can say they have a glacier in the backyard here at their office, you know? So free time, get out and see it all too.
Yeah.
What about you?
Well, I'm a little bit older. You graduated in 2018.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. I graduated in 2012, and I got a Bachelor's of Science in Atmospheric Science with a minor in mathematics. I always mention the minor in mathematics because taking that one extra class to get that minor was hard. Yeah. It took 3 tries. So,
math, right?
like, I was like, I'm going to mention it every time. But I'm from the University of Kansas. I'm from Kansas. So the severe weather background, you know, I had that. And then we had very little snow, and I love snow. Yeah. And then even when I went to KU, we had a couple of winter storms. We had one, the big snowstorm of 2011, shut down the city, and the campus was shut down for 3 days. So that was good. Getting that real, you know, picture of like what 9-10 inches of snow looks like in a single event. And then I left college to go into TV. And I did that for 7 years. I had 1 year in Lawrence and then 6 years in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And then after 6 years, I left to pursue the Weather Service. I started applying, trying to get into the Weather Service in 2018. And then in 2020 is actually when I made it in. So it took me a couple of years to get past the interview phase and then get that offer.
I'd say it's an interesting perspective coming from TV over to the Weather Service side. What can you speak on about that? Like, I definitely know that you always offer a different perspective on things, and it's nice having someone more with a communication background when we have these weather events moving through.
Yeah, and you know, that's kind of what I like to focus on, is the communication. Is how can we explain this forecast when it is complex and difficult? You know, sometimes we've got high pressure, it's going to be sunny and hot, and that's about really all there is. And other times we've got complex lows that if they go this direction, it will do this. If it goes this direction, it will do this. So finding those ways to communicate the forecast is what I enjoy doing. It's like a puzzle to me, and that's what I do. It's what I bring to the table, is that communication aspect. Is, you know, we can make the forecast all day long, but unless someone understands it so they can make decisions on it, then the forecast means nothing.
Exactly, and I think we both have that in common. I think for where I enjoy the most, over the years, I've really been able to figure out what I enjoy the most about my job is getting out and interacting with the public. We do a lot of outreach here for our office. If you haven't seen us already in your community, we try to get out as much as we can. I know we do a lot of local outreach here in Juneau, but not just locally, but we get out. Like you said, Nicole and I went to Cake a few months ago, and that was the first time we had been to that town in a long, long time. So I really enjoyed that, and I really love providing decision support services. So you'll hear this word a lot, IDSS, and that's something that the Weather Service is really pushing right now. And I love that, just, being able to deploy out to whether it be, an earthquake or a tsunami or any kind of disaster, and then they need boots on the ground. We have the opportunity here to get deployed and embed within the EOC, the Emergency Operations Center, and provide weather support that way. And that's something I really enjoy doing, messaging our forecast to decision makers.
Yeah, and I enjoy the talking to the media. We get the radio DJs calling in and doing those conversations we have with there, just helping them get our forecast out. It's all good. It's all partnerships. And so coming from TV, I was on that side where I would take the warnings, the tornado warnings, the winter storm warnings, and blast them out on my platform that I had. And now I'm just on the other side of that. Now I'm the one creating the warnings. I'm creating the watches, and then I'm helping the other side get that message out.
When people are looking for weather information, we're kind of the place to go.
Yeah, we try to be the number one. First stop.
People have their apps on their phones, and other sites that they may go to, but when it comes to any kind of media that's sent out, we try to do a lot.
Yeah. So we'll get a little bit more about us if there's any more we can think to cover. But going forward, we talked a little bit about this. Are the thoughts for this upcoming podcast season? We're going to talk to other folks that work here, forecasters, but also we've got hydrologists, we've got our co-op lead, our IT guy Ben. He keeps this office running. Just this afternoon I had to ask about how to get the printer working. So he keeps us going. Ben, you're our hero. And then we got the ET guys that go out and fix things. We got the management team. So it's not just forecasters who come in, make the forecast and go home. There's a whole team of people that support us as we support them, and we all support you. So it's just, we're going to get as many people as we can to get in here, talk to them, to find out what they do on a day-to-day, get their backgrounds, and so it should be fun. It should be fun because we got a wide range of backgrounds from, educational backgrounds who went to college. We got a few military that they got their background in military forecasting, so it'll be fun to get those differences and learn all that good stuff.
Yeah, I think you're going to hear from us a lot. Hopefully, we hope to get several of these podcasts out. But I think I want to tell the listeners here. If you have a question and you would like to send it in, we are going to be taking in questions. So if you have a question, send us an email at juno.weather@noaa.gov and put in the subject line Weather Seekers Podcast.
Yeah, that way we can search for it and find it pretty easy. And that'll be fun because then you can tell us what you want to know. What burning questions do you have to ask a weather forecaster? If we can't answer it, we'll find someone who can.
Yeah, exactly. I can't wait to be able to, add this to a way that the public can interact with us. There's a lot of people out there that have questions like, there may be this local weather phenomenon that's going on in their town, and maybe they want some information on how that's caused, and hopefully we can figure that out for them. So shoot us an email, and on the next couple episodes, we'll try to get those questions in there as much as we can.
Yeah. Well, that's all for now. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, I'm meteorologist Grant Smith here with...
I'm meteorologist Caleb Cravens.
We'll see you next time.